Sunday night, it's 8 o'clock. Welcome to All Lacrosse Live. I'm Gary Groob in Toronto. With me, as always, I have Shawn Slaght over in Moose Jaw. Shawn, how are you?
Doing pretty good. Thanks, Gary.
Excellent. And I have Muffler Mike over in Connecticut. Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Excellent. I am exuberant because I have just come from the Rock celebration party because that's what we do. We celebrate. And, we celebrate. Yes, we celebrate. Find your favorite player. The one who didn't sign it, though, of course, he's busy doing PLL, was, of course, my WWE favorite, C.J. Kirst. Him and no one else weren't there, but everybody else was. And what a party it was. And, got a chance to be with the trophy. Isn't that great? Look at me. Real smile and everything. Wasn't phony at all. Well, my teeth are drying. But just to show everybody, the entrance of it all was pretty cool. We had a parade, so to speak, on the track floor.
Good job.
That's a happy bunch of people, ain't it? Good crowd too, man. I really love that. A lot of energy. They had Q&A for the kids. They had, take your picture with the trophy as you've seen. They had autograph sessions all over the place. And they had all kinds of food trucks and things like that in the parking lot and different things going on. All kinds of really cool things going on. So, kudos to Jamie and everybody there. Everybody was open to everything. Eduardo is with us. Eduardo, welcome.
Eduardo
is there.
Just tuning in.
What a gorgeous day it was today, too, to go and celebrate. So, it was wonderful. We've had like -5s, and it was actually like Florida weather today. Wonderful. But yeah, so I guess that puts a fork in it. We're now in summer ball. But hey, that was a pretty cool thing. And there was a ton of merch, unlike the stuff you saw online where there was one T-shirt and one cap. You had all kinds. You had hoodies. You had this. You had all kinds of things. Finally, though, I've known Josh Dawick since he's probably 4, and I finally got a practice jersey out of him signed. So thanks, Josh. Appreciate that. So pretty cool. Good day was had by all. But anyways, just before we get rolling with everything else, because my goodness, there's a lot of lacrosse in the summer. Just a reminder to everybody that all of our shows are streamed live across Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, also Twitch. And it is on Spotify the next day. Remember to hit the subscribe, follow, like buttons. Always share. Please enjoy all of our affiliates across the Streampunk Entertainment Network. If you missed a show, no worries. You can grab all the shows on YouTube, which include Streampunk Sports, Streampunk Cinema, Streampunk Combat, and of course, All Across All the Time, in which you will find retro games, interviews, library of shows, fights, press conferences, and so much more. Remember, you can stay up to date with all sports by visiting streampunkentertainment.com with great articles from our huge staff of contributors. Also a reminder, the show is brought to you by 60. 60 is Canada's newest, most exciting sports uniform and teamwear brand, delivering top quality uniforms and teamwear that reflects the spirit and identity of each team. Their commitment to innovation and style excellence sets them apart ensuring that every customer experiences the perfect blend of style and functionality. Unleash your greatness with 60. Remember, also add Laxtalk 10 to every order for 10% discount on your order. Now, how do you get to them? The QR code in the center of the screen is a good start. If not, you can go to Instagram at sweet_60, hit them up on email at info.sweet60@gmail.com, or go directly to their website at www.sweet60.ca/60. That'll take care of everybody. Now, Pat will be joining us also in a few minutes to discuss some of the ways of the PLL, like where in the heck did the Water Dogs go? I am here myself because I think I was the only one of all of us who picked them, which put me in the loser's circle. We also had a couple of days ago, yesterday, we had the lacrosse day for our champions in Peterborough. And as promised, it was a fantastic day had by all, which included the Legends game, stories by the Legends, all kinds of great things all day long out in Peterborough. If you have an opportunity, if you need to get in touch so as you can make a donation, contact Ernie Element. You can get a hold of him upon social media, Facebook especially, and see how you can add to the cause. Also, a reminder that Lacrosse Canada has their Paralacrosse launch date, which is June 5th, 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. at Variety Village in Scarborough, 3701 Danforth Avenue, if you are in the area. If you're not in the area, get in the area because it's going to be a cool thing to see and watch the launching of. And let's give them a lot of support. Great, great, great program. Well, guys, lots to talk about this week. I had Todd LeBranch, who just recently retired after 25 years being an NLL ref. And of course, through our conversation for an hour, we touched on a lot of subjects. It was fantastic. If you hadn't seen the interview, it is on our YouTube page at All Lacrosse All the Time. It's also on my lacrosse page at Groob, as well as all the social media pages. Please find one of them, sit down and give it a listen to because it is fantastic. I want to play a couple of minute clip because we talked so much about that infamous call that went viral of LeBranch talking about these two need to go and spend 2 minutes to think it over, blah, blah, blah. Let's hear his explanation on the hows and the fallout afterwards. 2 seconds. And
these two are clearly having issues with each other, could not restrain themselves, so we're going to give them 2 minutes to think about what they've done.
What came about? What all of a sudden that had you break character enough that you were the talk of the town, news broadcast, you gave the league more that night than they could have done with TV in years. It was fantastic, off the cuff, Wes Macaulay-like. And how did this come about?
You know what? It was in Colorado, and I was just walking to the penalty box to stand and make the announcement. And I thought, well, let's see where this goes. And, and as you say, it kind of took off from there. And, in speaking with Brian Lemon after the game, he said, okay, well, 2 things matter. And I said, okay. And he said, what the commissioner thinks about it and what the internet thinks about it. And so I had completely forgot that Nick Sakevich who was the commissioner at the time, was in the building for that game. He was there at the time. And I'd come out of our locker room to go down and get a bag of ice for my ankle at the time. And as I'm coming around the corner to go grab the bag of ice, Nick Sakevich is coming around the corner. And I thought to myself, okay, here's test number 1. And as he walked by me, he stuck up his hand, gave me a high five and said, nice job. I said, check, that's 1. And then it started to go viral. And, by the time I flew home the next morning, I think there was, 80,000 views of it. And TSN threw it up and it just started going. And then, by the time I drove home from the airport, there was about 2.5 million hits on it. And it was like, okay, I think I'm okay. So I called Brian the next day and I said, I think I'm okay. And he said, yep, you got lucky. And I said, okay, perfect. So yeah, it was an interesting moment and, something that even even today, people will come up and say, "Hey, you're the guy that made that call," and I'm like, "Okay, yep."
Yeah, sometimes. Pretty amazing, eh? The human thing, the human side. What we kept coming back to that in the interview is that if everybody remembered that the refs are human, or sometimes they make mistakes, sometimes they don't, but they're human, they're individuals, and if we can keep remembering that, maybe we give them a little more respect. I love the one line he came up with there is to shut up a coach or shut up thing is like, tomorrow when we look at it, I may be wrong, but for tonight, I'm right. And that's it. And off he would go. Perfect way to be a ref.
Yep.
But communication. Same thing when I had Foxy on the show. Same thing when I had Jack Couture on the show. The best refs in the league, and I'm sure if I get Cardonio on or something, the best refs in the league were the best communicators in the league as well. And that's what made the game flow to this day. The ones who can't communicate so well don't have that much of an easy time of it. And we see it in lower level lacrosse and things like guys learning how to do it, just like guys are learning how to play at a high level. Refs are learning to ref at a high level. And it's funny because, we talked about this also, was players can have an off game. Players can have an off shift. Players can make an errant pass. Players can go and miss an assignment. Refs have to be damn well perfect every single minute of every single game. They never get to go on the bench and rest. They're on the floor for 60 minutes out of 60. They don't get a penalty. They don't get anything else, and yet they have to be perfect. Interesting. And we wonder why we have trouble getting more and more officials in there. We can get them in, but we don't support them when they're in there. A lot of this stuff is in that interview. You'll want to check it out, please. It's on our YouTube again, on All Across All the Time, and on Groob. Give it a listen, give it a watch. It is also on Spotify under the Candid Frank and Gary and All Across Talk. So please give it a shot, and you won't be disappointed. It was a fantastic hour. And again, I thank Todd Branch for his time. Without further ado, I want to bring across the myth, the legend, the one we know as the Goblin, Mr. Bernard. There you go. There you go. I even gave you, Pat.
You got the wrong logo on that hat, Pat.
It's the same.
Yeah.
It's all the same. The funny thing is with all this, I even gave you CJ cursed. And you know what? Still wasn't enough.
You know why? Because it's really damn housing, and I've been cursed. This team has been cursed. I'm not going to complain tonight, gentlemen. I got my whipped cream right here. I'm going to play reverse psychology. I need a reverse psychology. I need a brown paper bag to just breathe into. Say, and I need someone to just tap me on the shoulder and tell me everything's going to be a-okay.
Can't bring me down, Pat. Can't bring me down.
Enjoy the trophy there, as you should, Gary. But last week I felt a little bit excited because Princeton won the NCAA championship. I'm thinking, great, local school here, knocked down the empire of Notre Dame. Didn't see that happening at all. But when you watch a guy like Chad Palumbo, a big body, as I mentioned in one of the shorts I made today, he was like the Incredible Hulk out there. For what he is going to, if I'm going to reverse this to make the comparison to basketball, he's going to be Shaq for years to come. He's got that big body. He's going to defend. He's going to demand the 2 to 3 defenders to come at you, and he's going to open up other teammates to just cause chaos like Schalkenblock and all those other guys are on that team for the Carolina. And mind you, when you flip to the other side for Carolina, you have a guy named a guy I know very, very well, and Blaze Reardon, who played like a brick wall between the pipes and didn't only let up 8 goals to go by him. He was sensational. So if Carolina fans are checking in, you guys got something cooking with that Carolina Chaos team.
Yeah, and they'll be now they get that win going into their homecoming weekend. So that'll be interesting to see. If they can kind of replicate what Whip Snakes did this week, which we'll get to. But I do want to point out, in that second half, Dana Boyle did interview Bill Tierney, and he was pretty pleased with how the team played. And he just said, look, it's Blaze's shots.
And
Not like they weren't getting good quality looks, the Water Dogs. They just were not falling. If you want to take a positive out of this, yeah, they're 1-2, but now they're 1-2 in a 12-game season rather than a 10-game season. So there's a little more.
For all of you guys who had Carolina, I had the Water Dogs.
I know I went
2-2, and I went 1-3. I had the Water Dogs.
The same. I know I'm in that bracket, but hey, listen, I looked at it to be, Tierney's right. I mean, they were getting some decent looks, some decent shots. CJ Kurse getting the only one getting a hat trick. You had a pair of goals from Michael Sowers. Yes. Mark, McCardle, he had a couple shots, but outside of that, it's just and like I mentioned, you're running against a Carolina team who just got the MVP of the NCAA championship on their team. Like they just got that much more better. They already had enough firepower. You just added a bazooka to your arsenal. Like, how can you be ready for that? Like, see that way that kid plays. I mean, he was just bullying and steamrolling any defender got in his way. I mean, he's going to be tough to defend for years to come. I mean, like I said, you're going to have to draw. If you're any other coach, you're going to have to put two to three guys on him to try and make any kind of physicality to get the ball out of his hands. And when he does that, okay, this guy's open, that guy's open, there's someone behind the net. They have a lot of looks out there, and they're going to be that dangerously good.
Yeah, and I mean, I'd say it gives me hope that the Water Dogs can reach that same kind of level. I mean, one thing to consider is, it wasn't just CJ Kurse returning. You had Casey Wilson making his debut on the front end. You had Josh Yago making his debut on the front end. And so now you're looking at, you're integrating three guys you didn't have last week into the offense. And while one has familiarity, the other two don't. And the other glaring issue, if there's any to point out, just the production from the midfield. They've got to get something going. Those guys, Jack Hanna, McConvey, Connor Kelly, they need to start. They need to start getting more production out of their midfield. They can't. It's almost like you guys joked about curses. It's almost like late. Remember that game late last season where it was something like a 12-11 or 13-11 victory or something like that, and all of the points scored by the Water Dogs were by attack men only. And it seems like since that game, the midfielders have just come up practically empty. Just every game they played, going into the playoffs and even into this season. And I don't know what the cure is for that.
It's funny you bring that up too, Mike, because you mentioned about Connor Kelly, and if you notice, there was not a two-pointer at all in this game. There was just not, and again, you kind of revert to, let's make plays down low, let's try and get creative, get Josh Yago into the lineup, see what he can do. Again, he's going to need time to gel to the Bill Tierney system and see how things are going to run about, but you need playmakers from the outside, and to beat a team like Carolina, you need to start shooting some leather from the two-pointer.
Right. Well, we had three other games on the go. I want to actually, while Pat's here, talk about the Denver New York Atlas game. And what happened to my Atlas? We have bad news that Jeff Teague won't be back for this year because, well, he was working with a shoulder injury most of the time through the NLL season, and it looks like he's going to get that taken care of before the next NLL season. But we still have everybody else. And why have they decided to take a vacation the last 2 weeks?
You know what? It's funny you bring that up because I was watching that game tightly. So the difference was New York looked like they had, okay, Jeff Teague, we know it's going to be not here. He's on our back burner. We seem like to have everything in control of this game. We're dialing up plays down low. We cut the field in half. We're making plays. Tic-tac-toe, basic stuff. They look like they're going to run things back. Travis Batiste doing his thing. And then all of a sudden, it looked like, Denver was just running with the same play. It's just let's go in transition and let's keep up tempo. And then it just became when they got in that second half, they made the adjustments. Okay, and again, it touched my heart here. That's why I just took some whipped cream because that's a little weird. But I got to see Brandon O'Neal, Dalton Young, the Wings connection, guys who know each other really, really well, and they were just again. Scoring in transition. If they're not, then they went in the second half and they took a page out of New York's playbook and start tic-tacking themselves. So, you got to see some good stuff there.
Right. What's going on with the goaltending for New York?
Oh, man. Because I did see, this is a kid, Enneman, who I watched, again, win multiple championships with Notre Dame. And this is the first time I saw him get buzzsaw. This is the first time it looked like he was in between the pipes without an answer. And, again, they were just moving too fast on them. Anytime Denver had possession of that ball, they were finding ways to win. And now the big question is on Denver. You looked really good taking care of the champions. I know they're missing, their main core piece, but you can win without Pat Cavanaugh. You proved that you can win without him. I mean, yeah, Pat Cavanaugh is a big piece of the puzzle, but no harm, no foul. This team looks like they're ready for the championship. Like you said, Gary, without Jeff Teague, this team didn't look like they know how to respond to anything.
Right, but their defense wasn't good because Enneman faced 36 shots on goal. He made 20 saves, still 16-1, and he got peppered. Like the defense had gone on vacation.
Yeah, and he did get peppered. I mean, like I said, once to quote Jacob Fatu, it was all gas and no brakes. I mean, that second half, Denver was just on fire. I mean, that one goal came from New York at all in that third quarter. And I know New York battled a little bit back, but you go on what I think it was like 11-2 run. They just ran them into the ground, and New York just looked lost. They got physical with New York. They were stripping Trevor Batista's balls out of his hands. They looked like, okay, our best player on the team is getting the ball ripped out of his hands. Now, how do we respond to that? And they didn't. They just took the beating that came with it.
Right. Well, I guess there's always next week, right? All I can say about it, really, without sitting there and, Boston next week. I don't know. That one's
it is weird.
It's not like Boston's tearing it up either, because Maryland took them to task also, beating them 17-10.
Yeah, but the problem is now, though, for the Water Dogs, because Maryland beat the daylights out of them, they're going to take the belts off their pants and they're going to say, "Here, come here, Philly. We're going to be this much more angrier and this much more pissed off, and you guys are going to have to take the receipt for it."
Well, let's see if the Atlas get them first, and then
That's
a
true.
little easier time. Mike, tell me what went on with that Maryland-Boston game.
Yeah, Maryland kind of in control, really, the whole time, it seemed. Again, 17-10. You had multiple hat tricks on the Whipsnake side. Adam Pachwa had 4 goals. You had a hat trick and an assist from Colin Heacock, a hat trick and an assist from TJ Malone, a hat trick from Aiden Carroll. Some guy named Joey Spallina, 2 goals and 3 assists in his PLL debut. And
the funny thing is, hey, Mike, this weekend, the 2 teams that passed on him, he beat the crap out of
got
both.
torched by him.
Yeah.
Yeah. There is a tweet out there that the PLL reposted. 2 goals and 5 assists total for Spalina on the weekend against the two teams that passed on him. He also fed Rob Pennell for one of his 2 goals that put him past John Grant Jr. into second place all time in pro field lacrosse total points in history. And it was just, dominance all around, really. Petey LaSalle, 16 of 28 on face-offs, 7 ground balls. Emmett Carroll had 10 saves on the night. For the Cannons, bit of a mixed bag. Brian Kelly had 2 goals and an assist. Coulter Mackesy with 2 goals. Mick Kelly had a goal, a 2-point goal, and an assist. But the Whip Snakes defense held Marcus Holman to just a goal and an assist. Graydon Hogg had a goal. Matt Campbell had a goal. And Colin Kirsch, 15 saves. But second straight game, he's kind of stumbled after that masterful performance that he put on against the Water Dogs.
Right. Now, they're showing that they have a lot of offense, Maryland does. But we look at the next game against the Archers, and they show how good a defense they put on.
Yeah, they take a completely different path to victory the next night, beating the Archers 8-5. It is Jim Stagnita's 96th win. That places him first place now, all time in coaching wins in pro field lacrosse history. And a little different way to do it. The defense held Archers scoreless for just under 17 minutes to start the game and just over 23 minutes to end the game. So that's pretty brutal when you're going through 2 stretches totaling 40 minutes out of a 48-minute.
Yeah. And when Tom Schreiber is on the bench still hurt, and you look at him going, can you heal? Can you heal? Can you heal? Can you do it with one arm? You probably could.
Now, I'd like to say it didn't look all bad for Archers because they had this game tied up, less than a minute into the third quarter. The Whip Snakes did start out, with a 3-0 lead after 1. TJ Malone had himself a hat trick. Aiden Carroll a goal and an assist. And then they got goals from Adam Patois, Colin Heacock, Truett Sunderland. Spalina, as I said, an additional 2 assists for his 2-5 weekend. Emmett Carroll had 13 saves. Connor Fields, a goal and 2 assists for the Archers, and he scored early in the third. Late in the second, I should say, and assisted on another goal to pull them within 5-3. And Archer scored 2 goals right off the bat within the first minute of the third quarter, and then nothing. Just shut down. Malone scored back-to-back in the third quarter to give the Whip Snakes a lead for good. The only other offense for the Archers, CKG and Cola had a goal. Mac O'Keefe had a goal. Sam King and Piper Bond each had a goal. Brett Dobson making his PLL debut, or season debut, I should say. 12 saves, but he had a bit of a critical mistake early in the game where he got stripped of a ball near midfield and forced the Archers to have to cover the net with a long pole, which didn't end well.
No, we did not.
Mike Sisselberger did go 11 of 17 on faceoffs and had 8 ground balls in the loss, but doesn't get any easier for Archers either because they will be facing chaos in one of those 2 homecoming games in Charlotte next week.
They have the first game on Friday. It's Utah versus Carolina. The late game that day is California against the Atlas. That doesn't sound good either. Denver versus Carolina on the early game on Saturday, and Boston versus the Water Dogs in a late game on Saturday. Now, Mike, was there a WLL game this weekend too, right?
Yeah, there was. So make it a clean sweep for Maryland as the Charm beat the California Palms 18-17 in overtime for their first win of the season. For the Charm, Ashley Humphrey, 3 goals, 6 assists. Sydney Black had 5 goals and an assist. Cassidy Spielis, 4 goals and an assist, including the game winner 20 seconds into overtime. First round draft pick Bridget Duffy had 2 goals and an assist, and Kaylee Waters 13 saves. On California's side, Emma Lopinto 4 goals, 2 assists. Ellie Macera had 4 goals. Anna Brandt 2 goals and an assist. Marie McCool had a pair of goals, and Taylor Marino 15 saves for the Palms. It's a big game next week in Charlotte. It's the Palms and the Boston Guard, and both teams are 0-1, and neither can really afford to go 0-2 considering they're only playing 4 games in the season.
Yeah.
So that'll be critical. And those are the two. Not only that, that's I'm sorry, no, I'm thinking of the Charging. I thought that was a championship series rematch, but that was the Palms and the Charging. But yeah, California and the Boston Guard next week.
Right.
With the loser really in trouble on the outside of the playoff window, if you will.
Sure. Pat, what do the Dogs need to do to get in the win column?
They just need to start barking. No, they listen. Again, start taking some quality shots, outside shots. I mean, listen. This team knows how to put their foot on the gas pedal, but at some point, they when they come to a red light, they just stop there, and they got to play. Take your chances at some quality shots. Connor Kelly, they run up against a hard goalie in Blaze Rudin. You're not going to have again. You're going to have a rematch against Boston. You should now do your homework. Be ready to go, because if not, it's going to be another long day at the office. So this Water Dog has and Michael Sowers. I know I get on him at times, but he needs to be a little bit more and more involved, and he's going to have to average like 4 goals a game. I mean, CJ Kerr's averaging a hat trick. That's great, but I need to see a little bit more from Sowers. If he's going to be the face of the franchise, I need to see a little bit more from him. And I know it probably won't be this game either. Getting Josh Yago into some play, but I imagine at some point he's going to play a major role, because again, he was during that Notre Dame run, he was spectacular. So again, I imagine he's going to get his hands dirty at some point. Hopefully it's this game, because he's going to add a little bit more to their offense, and that's what this team needs right now.
Absolutely. As always, Pat, I appreciate your time. I appreciate your commentary, and I appreciate your insight.
And I'll tell you what, if the Phillies and the Water Dogs lose again this weekend, the brown bag's coming back out, gentlemen. I'm just letting you know.
I'm going to have to take the W off for the wings.
Yeah.
That's part of the Howard thing, I think. He's been wingified, and he's got to get those wings clipped that he can do what he did before.
But I did. I know you guys know this already. I am very excited because the NCAA comes back to Philly next year, so that is a positive. I can't wait. I can't wait to be in there, stuff my fat face in front of all the ESPN cats, and then they go. I like they just go like this and watch me. I'm like, watch us.
Yeah, if a Pat grew a long beard and had long hair, I watch him on TikTok. Unbelievable. The only guy I think can beat Pat in a race.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like I said, I forget the commentators are for the PLL. They were sitting right next to me, and they were like, "You're going to eat that?" I said, "Watch it." They said, "It's 10 o'clock in the morning." They said, "You're going to eat." They said, "You're going to eat a cheesesteak?" I said, "Watch this," and just.
Welcome to Philly.
That's just warm ups for him.
It's just I turned the conveyor. I turned the conveyor belt on, and the cheesesteak goes in the throat throat and right in the belly. They said, "Oh my
Most
Lord."
amazing thing. When he started doing the pretzel people, that's what always mind-boggles me. The Philly Pretzel Company, and they're big old pretzels there, and there's Patch.
Yeah, listen, anytime you can put pepperoni on pretzels and stuff it with cheese, I'm like, oh, come on. Now we're talking. And excuse me, I'm fat. I'm just getting fat thinking about it. See, I'm going to end the show on a high note. On some but anyway, you go, gentlemen. Thank you so much for having. Yes. Thanks for having me on, guys, and I can't wait to talk to you guys next week.
Thank you very much. We'll see you next week.
See you, buddy.
See ya, Pat.
See you, buddy. See you, Shawn.
All righty. That was Pat Bernard with his PLL takes and, of course, the Water Dogs and everything else that goes on. Just before we head off over to the West, I want to do a little bit of OSL here. We had an interesting weekend here. We had 4 games. The last one basically ended as we came on to air. But my goodness, did we have some fantastic games. We had Hamilton that faced Collingwood, and Hamilton was sitting at 1-1. Collingwood was sitting at 0-3, and this is why we play the games. Collingwood actually took them to task and beat them 11-8, but this was a really entertaining game. Collingwood weathered a back and forth battle Saturday night. They pulled away for the late 11-8 victory over the Bengals. After a tightly contested opening period that ended 2-2, the teams combined for 11 goals in a wild second frame. Hamilton actually grabbed the early advantage behind Andy Campbell and Eddie Renault, but Collingwood responded with a 4-goal surge led by Zach Ignac and Gareth Hay. The Bengals refused to go away. They rallied to tie the game twice before the Crews carried away a narrow 8-7 lead heading into the third. In the third, Zach Terry briefly pulled Hamilton even, but Gignac's fourth of the night restored the Collingwood lead and proved to be the game winner. Graham Bergsma added a key power play marker late in regulation before Ben Baker sealed the deal with an empty net goal. 11-8 was your final in that one. We move over to Six Nations and Ennismore, and although Ennismore lost in a very lopsided 17-9 victory, nobody has been able to get 9 goals on Six Nations to this point. And of note, the one to think mostly on this was Liam Volans had 7 goals in this game for Ennismore. And Mason Tardif, I believe, had the other pair. Together, each of them, I think, had 8 points in this game. Pretty spectacular for the couple of them. So there are a lot of bright spots on the Ennismore team. For Six Nations, Thunder Hill had another big game. Mitch Van Every, Ryan Andrews, Nolan McNeil, Rolanda Henderson. What was showing in this game a lot of the time, Six Nations was showing how deep a transition game they had. And they were running around in circles all over the floor. But 17-9 was your finish in that game. We moved to today, and we had a pair of really close games. Brooklyn looked to be, they went up into Collingwood, and they looked to have this in hand. It was 5-2 after 1, and it was 9-5 after 2. But Collingwood never count them out, it seems, is with a strong 4-goal third period, led by Braden Lockyer-Fagan with a pair, Graham Bergsma and Spencer Andrews. This game became a 1-goal adventure that Brooklyn was able to escape with 10-9. Of note, Oliver Vagno in net for Collingwood faced 51 shots on the night, making 41 saves in the loss. I think he had a pretty good showing. In the late cap that just finished, Six Nations and Owen Sound got it together up in Owen Sound. This game, again, it looked like Owen Sound had this in hand. Six Nations was up 2-1 after one, but it was 5-3 after 2-4 Owen Sound. It went back and forth in the third. It was 6-6. It was 7-7. And it finished 7-7 after three, heading into overtime, where just over 4 minutes into overtime, Cohen Jennings on the power play ended the game, giving Owen Sound the victory. Up to this point, Six Nations was 5-0. So Owen Sound, who is now 4-1, gave Six Nations their first loss of the season, which means the only undefeated team right now at this juncture is the Brooklyn Merchants. And we'll see how that plays out in next week's adventures. But to this point, we have Brooklyn at 5-0, Six Nations at 5-1, Owen Sound at 4-1, Hamilton at 1-2, Collingwood at 1-4, Belleville at 0-4, and Ennismore at 0-4. Next week's games, we have Collingwood facing Ennismore on Friday evening. Hamilton goes into Belleville. On Sunday, we have Brooklyn heading into Owen Sound and Hamilton heading into Ennismore. So it should be some interesting games next weekend as well. Now, Shawn, take me through the West. How the West went.
Yeah, you bet. We can start with the BC Junior A's. On Tuesday, the Langley Thunder picked up a 10-7 win over the New Westminster Salmon Bellies. Salmon Bellies rebounded the very next night and picked up a 10-7 win over the Burnaby Lakers. Then on Thursday, we had a close one. Coquitlam was down. It looked like their perfect record was going to be in jeopardy late in the second. They were trailing the Langley Thunder 5-7. They scored a couple straight to send the game into overtime. And then in overtime, Nathan Chalmers and Jordan Reed scored for Coquitlam. So they picked up a 9-7 win in overtime. Of note, though, guys, Caleb Kahn was in goal for the Langley Thunder in this one. He faced 72 shots.
Jeez, wow.
And still held Coquitlam to 9 goals. Then moving on to the next night again, Coquitlam's perfect record was in jeopardy again, as they actually were trailing. Let's see here. I'm sorry. Yeah, we were tied 7-7 in regulation. Levi Crooks scored with a minute and 39 seconds left in the third period for the Delta Islanders to make it 7-7 against the Adnacks. But then Chalmers again scores with 2 minutes and 28 seconds on the power play in overtime. So give Coquitlam the 8-7 win, and that'll keep them undefeated. Also on Friday, we saw the Burnaby Lakers defeat the Port Coquitlam Saints 11-7. And again, another tight one. We had another overtime game last night between the Delta Islanders and the Nanaimo Timbermen. In this one, the Islanders were actually trailing the Timbermen were trailing 9-5 early in the third period and scored 4 straight to force overtime. Then Turner Anderson scored for the Delta Islanders just over 4 minutes left into the first overtime for a 10-9 win. The other game on Saturday saw the Salmon Bellies defeat the Shamrocks 9-7. And then earlier today, we saw the Langley Thunder defeat the Shamrocks 7-6, as well as the Burnaby Lakers defeated the Nanaimo Timbermen 7-6. So the standings in the Junior A's in BC, you have Coquitlam Adnacks at 5-0, Langley Thunder at 5-1, New Westminster Salmon Bellies at 4-1, Burnaby Lakers at 3-2, the Victoria Shamrocks at 3-3, the Port Coquitlam Saints at 1-4, The Delta Islanders at 1-5, and the Nanaimo Timbermen at 0-6. We're at the Rocky Mountain Lacrosse and Junior A in BC, Alberta, and Manitoba. Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba. On Wednesday was our only midweek game, and we actually have finals for all these ones. The Okotoks Raiders came away with an 8-2 win over the Calgary Mounties. Then yesterday, we saw the Edmonton Miners with a 16-8 win over the Saskatchewan SWAT. And then just earlier today, the Calgary Mounties came away with an 18-9 win over the SWAT. So standings there, you have the Raiders at 5-0, the Mounties at 3-2, the new team Winnipeg Blizzards at 2-1, the Miners at 2-3, and the Saskatchewan SWAT at 1-7. And finally, over at the Prairie Gold, so junior and senior B in Saskatchewan. On Thursday, in junior B action, we saw the Moose Jaw Mustangs with a 13-6 win over the Swift Current Wolverines. Now on Saturday, there was supposed to be a back-to-back game in Prince Albert. However, a couple days ago, the Prince Albert Predators put out a statement saying it is with extreme disappointment that our doubleheader versus Weyburn has been canceled, as Weyburn does not have enough players. This is a huge loss for our organization via revenue, players chasing records, 2 home games, and fan experience. We are incredibly sorry for the inconvenience. This unfortunately ends this year's home games and will be on the road the rest of the season until a hopeful playoff run. We'll hope to see you again in a packed Kinsman Arena. So, unfortunately, not enough players for Weyburn to field a team, and so those games this weekend have been canceled. Looking at the Junior B standings, though, the Swift Current Wolverines sit atop standings at 6-4. Winnipeg Blizzards are 4-2. Moose Jaw Mustangs at 4-3. The Prince Albert Predators at 3-1, and the Weyburn Razorbacks at 0-7. And finally, in the Senior B this weekend on Friday, the Prince Albert Outlaws a 17-1 win over the Moose Jaw Mafia. On Saturday, the Saskatoon Brewers, who are looking really, really good, the one team that probably could give Standing Buffalo a run for their money, they defeated the Moose Jaw Mafia 26-4. Close one also on Saturday as the Regina Heat came away with an 18-14 win over the Prince Albert Outlaws. And then the Winnipeg Blizzard picked up a 21-3 win over the Saskatoon SWAT. And then earlier today, we had the Blizzards again with a win, 21-8 over the SWAT. The Saskatoon Brewers with a 12-9 win over the Regina Heat. And no score as of yet, but this afternoon, Standing Buffalo was taking on the Prince Albert Outlaws. Looking at the Senior B standings now, Saskatoon Brewers at 8-0. The Winnipeg Blizzards at 3-2, the Regina Heat at 3-3. And by the way, if you go to Lacrosse the Prairies Facebook page, there was quite a fight between the Regina Heat and Standing Buffalo. Mike Messenger kind of got in it with a player, dragged him all over the floor. Jake Boudreau also ended up dropping the gloves as well. Kind of got a little rough there. Standing Buffalo is 2-0 though. Prince Albert Outlaws are 1-3. Saskatoon SWAT 1-4, and the Moose Jaw Mafia at 0-6.
Wow, busy. Definitely busy.
Lots of lacrosse out here.
That's a good thing. A little taken aback by a team not being able to field one. That's
it's a bit disappointing.
Oh well. This is how we shall overcome. All right, let's head over to some MSL action. And we had a busy week this week as well. A number of really interesting games. We start off on Monday, and the Oakville Rock played their first game. Interesting. Very interesting. Owen Sound had this game in hand. And nothing is for certain, right? Owen Sound was even up 8-6 after 2. But a big third by Oakville, and they wind up coming back and winning 11-9 over the Owen Sound North Stars, who've had a rough time so far this year. They've been shut out by Six Nations. They've had Oakville come back on them. A few things. They had Peterborough yesterday. That didn't go well either, but we'll get to that in a minute. On Tuesday, the Brooklyn Lacrosse Club traveled over to Six Nations to face that buzzsaw. And, Aiden Walsh was in net for Brooklyn facing Doug Jameson for the Chiefs. The Chiefs used their combination of transition pressure, star power, gradually pull away from Brooklyn in really a fast-paced offensive battle. Brooklyn refused to go quietly, answering every Six Nations strike in the opening period, with goals from Mool McLeod, Zach Terry, and Chase Scanlon, repeatedly erasing deficits. But despite Brooklyn's pushback, timely scoring from Travis Longboat, a late marker from Lyle Thompson, yes, he's back too now, and Six Nations went to the first intermission with a 4-3 lead. The momentum only grew as the game wore on. Six Nations dominated key stretches of the second and third periods, with transition goals and quick strike offense creating separation on the scoreboard. Ian McKay and Ryan Smith sparked the middle frame, while Dane Smith took over late with a 4-point period that buried any hopes of a Brooklyn comeback. Connor Kiernan and Chase Scanlon continued to battle offensively for Brooklyn, but the Chiefs' relentless attack and ability to capitalize in transition led them to a 13-8 victory. But Brooklyn had to go and dust themselves off because they had to face Coburg the next night at home. And Coburg had a really good showing against Six Nations also, if you remember, last Sunday. And the Coburg Kodiaks erased a 2-goal third-period deficit with a furious late-game rally, storming back to defeat Brooklyn 10-8 in a thrilling back-and-forth battle. After Brooklyn controlled much of the first half behind a balanced offensive attack and a 3-goal performance from Dan Lintner, the Kodiaks slowly chipped away at the lead before exploding in the final frame. Shane Halliwell ignited the comeback with a dominant third period, scoring twice, including the go-ahead marker, while Aaron Woods took over late with a natural hat trick in the final 10 minutes to completely swing the momentum in Coburg's favor. Yeah, so anything that was expected, throw that out this week. Then, of course, we had Peterborough facing Brampton. And, this was the first one where what you expected kind of happened. Deacon Knott had his first start in the MSL for Peterborough in this game, and he looked sensational. He faced Connor O'Toole in the Brampton Nets, who looked to have a difficult time. He just was not comfortable from the beginning of this game all the way to the end of it. Just was not handling the outside shot well. And with the snipers and sharpshooters that Peterborough has, this didn't go well. In fact, Peterborough wound up defeating Brampton 16-6 in this one. And Peterborough started looking like the Peterborough that we expected. Now, Peterborough yesterday went into Owen Sound to face the North Stars. And again, as I've said, have had a rough time of it. However, to Owen Sound's credit, they played Peterborough tough. Now, they dropped the game 9-6, but the defense was solid for most of the afternoon. Peterborough overcame an early 2-goal deficit and used a balanced offensive attack to earn the 9-6 victory over Owen Sound. After the North Stars jumped out to a 2-0 lead from Sander Durkatz and Jackson Webster, the Lakers responded with 4 of the next 5 goals. The big catalyst in this game, Mike Robinson. First half hat trick and contributions from Zach McLean and Nate Sage. Peterborough carried a narrow 4-3 advantage into the first intermission before extending its lead in the second period, with Robinson adding 2 more goals to complete his performance. In the third period, the Lakers continued to control the pace as Zach McLean, Justin Sykes found the back of the net, while Colton Armstrong went coast to coast with an empty net goal to help seal this victory. So Peterborough wins 9-6. But to their credit, Caleb Martin had a sensational game in the Owen Sound net. Drew Hutchison started, by the way, for Peterborough. Nick Rosen was on the bench, counting to 5, opening the goals and the gates. I imagine we'll see him this week. Peterborough is into Oakville tomorrow, and I should see him in there, I would imagine. He does run track, right? Just saying. But upcoming this week, we have Peterborough Oakville tomorrow. We have Coburg facing Six Nations in a rematch on Tuesday. Wednesday, we have Brampton into Brooklyn. Thursday, we have a pair of games. We have Owen Sound in Brampton, and we have Brooklyn at Peterborough. I'm looking to be at the Brampton game Thursday. Sunday, we have Brooklyn into Coburg for the 6 p.m. Early evening game. And that is the week that was in MSL. Looking at the standings quickly, Six Nations with, of course, a 4-0 record. Peterborough is 2-1, sitting in second. Oakville 1-0 in third. Brooklyn 1-2 in fourth. Coburg 1-1 in fifth. Owen Sound and Brampton both without wins. Now, it took the Owen Sound beat reporter to bring my attention to this one, but the two former Bug Juice affiliates are sitting winless in this league right now. North Stars and Excelsiors. Just a coincidence, I'm sure. Anyways, that'll take us over to the WLA, and please regale us with some amazing games.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess I'll start off with Wednesday night. You saw Victoria and Langley face off in the first of a home-and-home series between these two teams. And in game one, Victoria comes away with 11-4 win. And really it was Victoria from start to finish in this one. Big game from Marshall King, 2 goals, 3 assists. Let's get my stats up here. Sorry. Of course, my thing's freezing now, but Crystal Regulari, 32 saves. He had 2 goals and 2 assists from Patrick Dodds in this game. Lone goals from Langley came from John Phillips, Nathaniel Koznikov, Bailey Vanichuk, and Trevane Hunter. So not a lot to speak of when it came to the Thunder on this one. A tough outing for them, but we will get to game 2 because it was a very different outcome. Moving on to Thursday night, we had the Timbermen and the Salmon Bellies, and this game went to overtime. Really what we saw was that actually a bit of a back and forth battle. At one point, Salmon Bellies did have an 8-4 lead. The Timbermen did come back with a 4-goal run early in the third period. Then they went back and forth. Noah Armitage scored with about a minute and a half left, but then with 53 seconds left, Matt Bose scored for the Timbermen to send the game to overtime. Then Boas again, about 8 minutes and 10 seconds into the first overtime, scored the game winner for the Timbermen. Noah Manning for the Timbermen had a hat trick and 3 assists. For the Salmon Bellies, Noah Armitage, 8-point night actually, 5 goals, 3 assists in the losing effort there. But then we move on to that double header, the home and home series, game 2. Excuse me. And I don't think anyone saw this one coming. Langley came away with a 11-7 road win over Victoria.
Can't catch a break this week.
And just can't catch a break. It just can't catch a break.
Yeah, now Victoria. I can't catch a break.
But first star was Keegan Okino and goal for Langley. 48 saves off of 55 shots by Victoria. He was just outstanding in this one. And I don't know, it was almost thunder right from start to finish on this one. They jump out to a 2-0 lead. Brendan Jameson for the Shamrocks scores to make it 2-1. But then again, another 2-goal run from Langley. Victoria replied with another 2-goal run themselves. Cody Adamson scored late in the first period to make it 5-3. That continued on for a 3-goal run for Langley to give them the 7-3 lead. Zach Mann scored early for Victoria, but again, they just kept kind of chasing their tail. Victoria did have a late 3-goal run, capped by Zach Mann scoring on a penalty shot to make it 8-7, but then again, Langley just kept fighting back, didn't keep their foot off the gas. Adamson, Connor Watson, and Dante Koulis with the final 3 goals for the Thunder. And leading the Thunder in this one, Connor Watson, I believe he was newly acquired by the Thunder there. 3 goals, 2 assists. Dante Koulis with 2 goals and 3 assists. A goal and 3 assists from John Phillips. He had a pair of goals from Cody Adamson. For the Shamrocks, again, they were led by Zach Mans with 2 goals and 4 assists. But after that, the scoring kind of really dropped off. He had a goal and 2 assists from Marshall King. And 2 goals from Cohen Block. And in goal, Chris Regulari, 14 saves off of 35 shots in just over 22 minutes before he was relieved by Adam Bland, who stopped 16 of 36 shots in just under 37 minutes of play in that one. Then moving on to Saturday. Sorry, just give me 1 second to get this game up. We had Maple Ridge with a 13-8 win over the Nanaimo Timbermen. And surprisingly now, Maple Ridge is actually undefeated and leading the WLA standings. They pick up a 13-8 win. Close first period, though. I mean, Maple Ridge only had a 3-2 lead, but then they broke out, outscoring Nanaimo 6-4 in the second period, as they kind of cruised to a 13-8 win over Nanaimo. Big game by Tyler Pace, 7 goals and 1 assist for 8 points to lead the Burrards. Marcus Claridge with the hat trick and 4 assists. Peyton Cormier also with a hat trick and 4 assists for 7 points each. And in goal for the Burrards, Jack Kask got the start and stopped 41 of 49 shots in the win for Nanaimo.
Do you think that Peyton Cormier has shown enough so far this summer that maybe somebody in Vancouver might go, hey, this might work, and maybe actually give him a chance to see the green on the floor there?
Yeah, you would think so, wouldn't you? Especially so far the summers he's had. It's unbelievable that, he doesn't see any floor time at the NLL level.
I hear his name. He's got 3 goals or 4 goals or something, and yet he can't crack the starting lineup somewhere in Vancouver.
Reminds me kind of like a Zach Mans a few years back before he got traded to Saskatchewan. Like, he was the top leading scorer in the WLA, but he just couldn't crack floor time with the Rock. They move him to a team where he's getting floor time and he just lights it up. Maybe that's what he needs, is to move on where there's a team that can give him floor time.
Yep. It's just whether anybody is willing to pay what Malowski wants in return, because I'm sure it's negotiable.
Oh, yeah.
Looks like everybody's got a price for the. Never mind.
But
Just
yeah,
it seems consistent that he's there all summer long.
oh yeah, he's had huge games almost every single game as far as I can remember here. Just off the top of my head. For Nanaimo, I mean, we're talking about players. Noah Manning, I remember when we were drafted, we were saying, who is this guy playing for Calgary that they drafted? He had 5 assists for the Timbermen in the losing effort. They had 2 goals from Boas, 2 goals from Logan Schmidt in goal for Nanaimo. Devlin Shanahan, 27 saves in the loss.
Right. See, the other thing, just before we move on, sorry, Shawn, is
That's right.
the other thing is, who is the coach for the Burrards? Rob Williams, right?
Yep.
Is he not the assistant coach of Vancouver?
Yeah. You think you would?
You kind of go, huh? Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely odd. It's definitely odd.
Doesn't add up, really.
And I mean, I know he's young, but maybe is there a little too much loyalty to the guys you have on the floor?
Yeah, but that has to stop at a point. You got knocked out in the first round on a year where they expected you to lift the cup. So something didn't go right.
You can't tell me Milwaukee's not seeing these WLA games. There's no way.
Well, no, it's in his backyard.
Yeah.
He lives in Coquitlam, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, sorry. Let's keep moving.
No, that's all right. I think it's on the Mike's game here.
Yeah, not much to speak of for my game.
So partial score, right?
Yeah, sorry, guys. I really want to see Burnaby succeed in the WLA, but yeah, getting outshot 61-31 and only putting up 3 goals isn't going to cut it. The Adnax beat Burnaby 15-3.
You can't win a half with 3 goals.
You really can. I mean, they were down 8-0 after 1. They scored all their 3 goals in the second period and then got shut out again on the back end. Ethan M. Lott, Finn Halliday, and Ben Stewart with goals for Burnaby. Milenichuk and Mark Russell Ripberger combined for 46 saves, and I think this is their 4th game so far, and I think 3 games we've seen the goaltenders split time already out of the 4, so that's not too promising.
It's
For the
already
Adnax,
daunting that you have Kristen Del Bianco in net, what you're facing against. But when you only get 24 shots on him, 27 shots on him, that's not going to beat him.
yeah, and he got pulled with about 10 minutes left in the game. Andrew Gallant made 4 saves in relief at the end of the game. For Coquitlam, Keen Moon, 2 goals, 4 assists. Jalen Chester, 2 goals, 4 assists. Brian Gillis had a hat trick and an assist. 2 goals from Laszlo Henning, who wisely left Burnaby, apparently. Thomas Semple had a goal and 3 assists in the win, and a slew of other Adnax got in on the action. Just another rout, and let's hope. I'm really hoping we can see some of these other Laker players, step up or step into the action. Even I don't believe we've seen the likes of Torrin Eccleston yet playing for Burnaby. Jackson Fridge, I think, was active in the game last night, so hopefully he can kind of keep his momentum going from his rookie season in Oshawa.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's early in the season, but yeah, Burnaby's sitting at 0-3 right now, so I mean, they got to pick it up quickly.
Very quickly.
Yeah.
And we have a game today, right? 10 o'clock.
Yes. Should just have gotten underway. I don't know if we have a score yet or not, but no, it looks like there's no score as of yet. But Coquitlam and Maple Ridge, so that should be a really, really good one.
Yeah.
Right.
It definitely could be a first place on the line here, but
Yeah, and let's hope this this surprise win by Langley kind of keeps them going, because they're Shawn and I had talked off air a couple of days or day before the the upset
yeah.
that their schedule is just front loaded with pretty much all of the playoff teams from last year. I mean, next week they've got New Westminster, they're at Coquitlam. The week after that, they host Coquitlam. And then, week 5, they've got Maple Ridge, they're at Nanaimo, who already beat them once this year. And then week 6, they're at New Westminster. So, I mean, we were talking about they could have been 0-10 by the end of June, So, to come out with a win here is big, but let's hope they can kind of keep the momentum and not be sitting where Burnaby is right now.
Another thing we discussed too is we go back to what's wrong with New Westminster, right? Like they just don't seem like they have the same firepower that they did in previous years. They don't have those big star names like Victoria does this year. I mean, we're seeing a guy like Noah Armitage really start to kind of step it up, and they're probably going to have to continue with that. And even, in net, where it's just usually seeing Ashton Leclerc in goal. You're not seeing a guy like Frank Chiliano or, an NLL caliber goaltender in goal for them. So it'll just be interesting to see, where the Salmon Bellies end up. I guess Lucas Nielsen is another name we brought up as well. You still have a Drew Belgrave, sure, on your lineup. But I think, it'll be interesting to see without the big name stars they usually have, whether they'll, be as successful this year.
Right. It's going to be an interesting week, that's for sure. Definitely keep our eyes peeled. I do want to mention one thing on MSL. It is as easy can be now to watch all games live since the contract with Flow Sports. Or if you go onto the website, and if I can share this with you for a second. Here we go. Yeah, here we are. And all it is simply is either watch live and voila. Or if we go on to the little thing here of watch on Flow, and there you go. So it's just that easy to get on there. So at any of those ones. So literally, you can't ask for it to be any easier than that. And it is that every game is on there and every game is archived. So if you can't watch it tonight, you can catch it tomorrow at your leisure. You can spend a weekend catching up on all the week's games. It is all there for you. And you have a choice of whether you want to pay monthly or pay yearly. So, there is a ton of other sports on there too, running all over the place from all over the world. So if other things interest you as well, there is hockey on there. There's other lacrosse on there. There's racing. There's all kinds of things on there. So you might want to have a look around just to have a gander at it. And the numbers have been very good from what I've been told and from what I've seen so far. And I had a meeting with the Flow Sports guys midweek just to, brush up the website to make sure everything is working correctly and succinctly, and it is. So please give it a shot, give it a look, because we've even seen pictures of people from Hong Kong watching it on their laptops. So you can watch it anywhere in the world and stay up to date with every minute of every MSL game throughout the summer. Can't get you a better deal than that. Anyways, that'll about wrap it up. I just want to remind everybody, we are on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on X, we're on Instagram, we're on Thread, we're on YouTube, as well as we're on www.streampunkentertainment.com. streampunkentertainment.com. Please visit us a couple of times a day because the news is always changing. We have everything up to the minute, up to date, as accurate as humanly possible. We take great pride in being able to give you everything up to date and accurate. We are your Costco of lacrosse. We are your one-stop shop with our fingers firmly on the pulse of the situation as always. Let's go to last words. Mike, let's start with you this week. Last words to you.
Yeah, congratulations to Jim Stagnita again, all-time winningest coach now in pro lacrosse field history. Week 4, it's going to be interesting. The Chaos coming off this win over Philly and going into a doubleheader against two teams in the West Conference in Archers and Outlaws. So the other games with the Redwoods and the Atlas, that'll be interesting. Atlas kind of needing to figure out what they're going to do without Jeff Teat against a Redwoods team that's coming off a bye. And then the Water Dogs, a rematch with the Cannons, who they seemingly do not match up well against. Have to see if they can make the adjustments that Pat was looking for to get back in the win column, even that season series with Boston.
For sure. Shawn, last words to you.
Yeah, and with that, you're really looking forward to this week with the WLA. Again, as we mentioned tonight, a huge game between Coquitlam and Maple Ridge. And just kind of looking at the schedule as well. Saturday, I see Coquitlam is taking on Langley, so it'll be interesting to see, that Langley win over Victoria. Was it a one-off, or are they the real deal? And can they pick up a win against a tough team like Coquitlam and Christian Del Bianco? Let's face it, he's usually the backbone of that AdMax team.
Absolutely. I also want to run a little thing I heard today. It's off the record, but I'm thinking that the ALL might be joining on the flow as well. So you're going to get year-round lacrosse if you jump in with him. But congratulations to the Toronto Rock. It was so great to see everybody. It amazed me to see how many guys are sitting there with slings, boots, and all kinds of things, just showing you what the price it takes to win a championship in the NLL. Lots of guys that are banged up heading into the summer, and what they did and how they played, banged up to win a championship. So kudos to them. It's been amazing so far with OSL and MSL, and as they say, the best is yet to come, because we're just heading into week 3 and week 6, respectively. Week 3 for MSL, week 6 for OSL, and lots of things going on, and lots of moves and all kinds of other things going on. So stick with us. All the moves will be up to date on our site, as they have been up till now. I got an inside edge being the media director for both, so I can get them up there quickly, accurately. Anyways, that'll wrap us up for this week. As always, I want to thank everybody. I want to thank my team for being so great at doing what they do. Best in the business, by far. And I want to thank you, the viewer, for being with us week in and week out. And I love seeing you all at the arenas and chatting with you. It is our privilege, as well as our pleasure, to bring this to you week in and week out. And until we meet again, remember, keep your sticks high, keep your spirits higher. And until we meet again next week, have a great week. Take care, everybody.